Once you've started the software, click on the new project, give the appropriate name for the new project, set the proper units, and press OK. The next step is usually to set the material properties. Open the new material dialog box and define the material name and press OK. The first construction step is for modeling a planar structure is usually to define a substrate layer. This can be easily achieved by creating a brick made up of substrates material in the box geometry section. The material setting of the brick must be changed to the desired substrate material. So you need to provide the values of x1, y1, z1, length x, length y, length z, change the material to the desired material, and then press OK. The next step is to model the half wavelength linear resonator on top of the substrate. Therefore, go to the geometry, select patch geometry. A dialog box will open. The material setting of the brick must be changed again to the desired linear resonator material. But since we have not provided any material for the linear resonator, you should select the PEC as the material for linear resonator from the material drop-down list. So you need to provide the values of x1, y1, length x, length y, z, and then press OK. The next step is to model the feed lines on top of the substrate. Therefore, go to the geometry, select patch. A dialog box will open. Now you need to enter the transversal coordinates of x1, y1, length x, length y, z, and press OK. Now we need to model the feed lines on top of the substrate for the other side. Therefore, we need to repeat the same process. Open the patch geometry box, enter the new set of values for the transversal coordinates. That is, provide values for x1, y1, length x, length y, z, and press OK. The next step is to model the ground plane below the substrate. Therefore, you should again do the same process. For the dimensions of the ground plane below substrate, you should design the ground plane brick. The material setting of the brick must be changed to the desired ground plane. So you need to select PEC as the material. Now we are providing the values for x1, y1, length x, length y, z, and press OK. The next step is to add the ports to the linear resonator device, for which the S parameters will later be calculated. Each port will simulate linear resonator structure that is connected to the structure at the ports plane. Voltage ports are the most accurate way to calculate the S parameters of any microwave device and should thus be used here. To define the port 1, go to the excitation, then choose a voltage port and provide the values in the open dialog box. Similarly, we need to define the second port. Repeat the same process. Provide the values for x1, y1, z1, x2, y2, z2, set the port parameters properly, and then press OK. Next, we need to provide the value of Zmax for the surrounding space. Now we need to provide the value of Zmin and Zmax in the boundary conditions setup box and press OK. The next step is the solver settings. For this, go to the solver by pressing the setup. A dialog box will open. Provide the various settings as per the formula provided and press OK. Now you need to save the project before we can simulate it. For this, go to the file menu, save the project, give it an appropriate name. Now finally press the simulation button to start the calculation. A progress bar will appear, and once it's completed, then you can review the results